Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and it is a short week for the Chicago Bears as we do play on Thanksgiving. Thursday, the first game early as we go to Detroit and take on the winless Detroit Lions. The Bears are coming off of another terrible loss and adds to our 5-game losing streak. And Detroit is coming off a loss to Cleveland. Both teams in this game are coming in looking very bad. Let's just say that the least. Both teams are not looking very good right now, but one of them has to win this game. So let's talk about this game. Let's talk about this contest. But before I do any of that, make sure you guys leave this video a like. That helps this channel to continue to grow tremendously. And if you have gotten to this point, you are not subscribed, go ahead, click that subscribe button before this video kicks off and click the notification bell so you will not miss any of the videos that I post. But without further ado, let's get it.
I'm striving to get rich. That's why I always went 2 years without buying shoes and feet. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
Before I get into my preview about the game, there was some news that came out earlier today as I record this video, is that the reports are that the Bears are going to fire Matt Nagy after this Thanksgiving game. Now, of course, me being one that I've been pushing for Matt Nagy to be fired the entire year, that this offense is entirely broken. He's lost the locker room, in my humble opinion. That news comes as absolutely welcoming to me. And me actually reacting immediately, I'm probably one of the happiest people on the planet Earth. Because I've been wanting Matt Nagy gone for so long, and it's been time, and it's long overdue for change at the head coaching position. But I do take a little bit of a drawback because of, number one, the report was coming from patch.com, and I haven't heard of patch.com until today. So I take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, and I take the fact that he's going to be coaching another game when they know he's going to be fired. I take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, because why have him coach another game when you know he's going to be fired right afterwards? Now, the Bears have had the history. They have never fired a coach mid-season. It has never happened, despite all of the bad seasons and all of the things that have been going on throughout this franchise's history. And honestly, that's not something I see changing as of right now. I don't see the Bears firing Matt Nagy until after the season, as much as I would love for them to do it now. Unless they lose this game this week, I don't see them happening. I don't see him being fired. But history can be broken. Records are made to be broken, so I can't get my hopes up in that end. But as far as the ownership goes, it's basically the same family lineage of not firing head coaches despite bad seasons. So as happy as I was when that report came out, and as happy as I was to see that, I take that with a little bit of a grain of salt if he's going to be fired or not. But I'm hoping for it. I am absolutely hoping for it, but like I said, I take it with a little bit of grain of salt. Now, going into this game, let's first talk about this Bears offense. And let's just face it, this Bears offense has been an absolute eyesore to watch this entire season.
So much pain! So much pain!
Now, we go into this game without Justin Fields. He is out. It is going to be back to Andy Dalton starting at quarterback. One person I think that is happy about that, Matt Nagy. Because Matt Nagy gets to run the offense that he wants to run. The short passing game, the slants, and all of those type of routes are Matt Nagy's favorite. And Andy Dalton is a quarterback that excels in the short passing game. He doesn't have the same mobility as a Justin Fields, so Andy Dalton can't move out the pocket, and Matt Nagy doesn't have that quarterback to where he has to fit a different game plan for him. He can have a quarterback that he wants in his own offense, the way he wants to run this offense. And we're still dealing with some injuries. Allen Robinson missed last week, and he did not go through practice and walkthroughs. You have Darnell Mooney, who's been limited with the foot injury, even though he played last week. Damian Williams is still out. This Bears offense has just been brutal. It has just been absolutely brutal all season long. And to think that this Bears offense is absolutely worse than the Lions offense, a team that is 0-8-1, and this Bears offense is absolutely worse than the Lions, who hasn't had quarterback play great all season, Jared Goff or Tim Boyle. It's been bad for the Lions team, and this Bears offense is worse? With the talent that the Bears possess, this offense should not be worse, but yet it has been.
That is blasphemous. That is blasphemous.
The offensive line has struggled for a good portion of this year, mainly in pass protection. It has struggled for a good portion of this year, and it is part of the reason why Justin Fields has the rib injury that he has right now. And the only thing that this Bears offense has been able to succeed at is the running game. And the problem with the running game is not necessarily the effectiveness of the running game. The problem with the running game is their ability to stick to the running game, especially the last couple of weeks. The Bears have gotten away from the running game. They got away from it against Pittsburgh, and they definitely got away from it last week against the Ravens. And to win any game in this league, especially the way the Bears are, you have to run the football. David Montgomery has to be more involved. You have to get Khalil Herbert more involved. Now that you don't have Justin Fields to take a bit of that RPO, a bit of those design runs are gone. Those plays are gone when you have Andy Dalton in at quarterback. So you're really going to have to be physical up front against this Lions team. Now, the Lions defensively are not good. They're not a good defense. But then again, the Lions aren't good anywhere else. But the one thing that they do have, and I think they have an advantage over the Bears as far as anything goes, is that how hard this team plays. Now, they might not be a very talented roster, but when you watch this Lions team, they play absolutely hard. The talent that's going to be there is not there right now, but this team fights. They keep themselves in games for the most part. Even with the tie to the Pittsburgh Steelers, this Lions team just finds ways to stick themselves in games and play tough. And the Bears cannot play down. Especially when you're on a 5-game losing streak, this offense has to do something. This offense has to step up. They have to score more than 14 points. You have to score more than 20 points, and which is something they have failed to do as a unit all season long outside of Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, the offense, let's take that back. The offense didn't score 20 points. They had a fumble field goal or a fumble punt. This Bears offense needs to score more than 20 points to win this game. I don't care who it's against Detroit, but this offense just has to score more than 14 points. Nagy, you have to do something. Your job is pretty much gone, but you have to right this ship in some sort of way, especially against the Lions team and the Lions defense. It's just not very good at all. Get it right, man. Get it right. Now, when you switch things to the Chicago Bears defense, the defense hasn't been great. It hasn't been that awful either outside of probably the Tampa Bay game, but this Bears defense is kind of on the fall, especially when you have injuries to Khalil Mack. Danny Trevathan is out. You have injuries to Akeem Hicks, who might not play this week. Eddie Jackson has missed the last couple of weeks with a hamstring injury. Robert Quinn has been the absolute bright spot of this Bears defense. And the problem with this Bears defense is that they absolutely choke in big moments. This defense has choked in big moments, especially the last 2 games when they let up a long drive for Pittsburgh to win a game. And last week against the Baltimore Ravens, they let the Ravens and Tyler Huntley score like this. Especially after the Marquise Goodwin touchdown, this defense let the Ravens score like this. The problem with this Bears defense is not a bad defense. Of course, the injuries are a problem. The injuries are a problem with this Bears defense. The problem with this Bears defense, too, is that they do not live up to expectations in big moments. They fail to get the job done in big moments. You had San Francisco game, they failed in a big moment in that game. You had games, I could say the Cleveland game, well, that was more of an offensive thing, but even when the Bears had chances to get stops, they did not do that. Cincy game, they started to come back. You have the Detroit game, the first game around where the offense of Detroit started to come back into the game. This Bears defense needs to keep their foots on teams' necks. They need to improve in those late games, keep the score where it is situations. They have failed throughout the course of this season in big moments, and that is why you are on a 5-game losing streak. This is the second 5-game losing streak in 2 years.
So much pain! So much pain!
This Bears defense just has to step up in big moments. Now, Detroit offensively, Deandre Smith and Jamal Williams have ran the football very well. Jamal Williams and Deandre Swift have been big bright spots in a really bad Detroit offense because Jared Goff has looked bad, and he probably may not play this week dealing with injuries. So you're dealing with a backup in Tim Boyle, who's been worse than Jared Goff, and Jared Goff has been horrible. So you're going up against a Detroit team, which is a very bad football team. The passing game has been absolutely horrible. It hasn't been as bad as the Bears. Oddly enough, it hasn't been as bad as the Bears, but it's been horrible. And Robert Quinn has to get after the quarterback, of course, and you have to have bigger games from the outside of your secondary, with Shelley now on injured reserve. Duke Shelley has been placed on injured reserve. Kendall Vidor has to have a better game. Now, Tashawn Gibson had a pick last week, but I don't know what Marquis Christian was doing last week, but we're not getting into that. But the secondary has to step up in bigger moments. This team has to step up in bigger moments. This team has to step up in bigger moments. And the problem with this Bears defense is, like I said, is the injuries and their ability to close out football games. And when you're going up against a team like Detroit that plays hard but is not very talented, you have to come out swinging and just dominate. You have to dominate a team like this. The Bears are too talented to not dominate a team like the Detroit Lions. Despite how bad things have been the last couple of weeks, the Bears have the potential to dominate this game. Now we'll just see if they come out and respond to a 5-game losing streak. Defensively, they have to. 3 keys for a Bears victory this week. I believe key number 1, stick to running the football. Do not get pass happy. Do not throw the ball 40, 50 times a game, maybe 60. You have to stick to David Montgomery. You have to use Khalil Herbert more because he's been a bright spot with your offense as well. Stick to the running game. Stick to the running game. Number 2, use your tight ends. Use Jimmy Graham. Use Kmet in the passing game. Not just as blockers. You have to have those two be more involved in your offense, especially if Allen Robinson is unable to go again this week. Those 2 guys have to be involved in the passing game, not blocking. Allen Robinson out and you don't have Kmet get a catch or target until late in the game. You have to keep those guys involved, and that will better help your passing offense. And key number 3 for a Bears victory, make things uncomfortable for Jared Goff or Tim Boyle, whoever's playing quarterback. Make things uncomfortable for them. Get turnovers, get pressure, confuse those quarterbacks because they haven't played good all year. Make it uncomfortable for them in the pocket. Make them make bad decisions. And you should be able to win this football game. But my pick for this game will be, I'm going to roll with the Chicago Bears in this one. Both teams are horrible. Both teams are bad. I think the Bears are just a little bit better than the Detroit Lions as we speak right now. The Bears, I think, should win this game. And I think they will finally get on the win column, finally slap this game, 5-game losing streak, and finally get on the board. I'm not going to pick the Bears to score a lot of points because they haven't done so all year. I don't think Detroit is going to score a lot of points either. It's going to be a really low-scoring game. It's going to be a bad eye watch because both teams are bad. But us as Bear fans, we are going to tune into it, but this game is not going to be very good. So I'm going to pick the Bears in this game, and I'm going to pick a low-scoring game. And I'm going to pick a game with 17-13 Bears. But scratch all that. If the Bears lose this game this week, they need to get Matt Nagy in the offense and tell him that it's bad enough already, and then to go to a 6-game losing streak, and then you lose to a Detroit Lions team that hasn't won the game, oddly enough, since last year when you guys lost to them at home. So if you lose this game to the Lions again, Matt Nagy, you need to pack your bags. They should be already packed because your job is basically gone. But I don't care about the history. I don't care about any of that. If the Bears lose this game, please do us a favor and take us out of our misery and fire Mack Nagy immediately. Please.
Dinkelberg.
But that is all I've got to say about this game and the report that came out that Matt Nagy could be fired. If you guys got to this point, leave this video a like. That helps the channel to grow absolutely tremendously. And if you got to this point, please click that subscribe button and notification bell so you not miss a single video. And leave your thoughts in the comment section down below about the report about Matt Nagy and about this upcoming game that's going to be on primetime TV as well. But I am APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe out there. Have a great and excellent Thanksgiving. And I will see you guys in the Bears reaction video. Peace.